It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag college basketball.
Michigan beats UConn to win it all, 69-63. L.A. Cadeau got to the rim, bunch of easy lay-ins, putbacks, that kind of stuff. He had 19 points. It's a good thing, PK, because whether it was the fact these are two great defensive teams or maybe it's shooting in the dome, maybe it's the pressure of the moment, maybe it's all those things, that was a terrible shooting performance from the three-point line. But, hey, win with the other stuff, and Michigan did, despite 2 of 15 from the arc.
Toughness, the one guy you mentioned from West Orange, New Jersey.
All right, well, Michigan gets the win. They do it with 5 transfers, PK, and I guess we'll get to this coming up in the next segment, but welcome to the New World Order. All those recruiting rankings, so what? Find me some transfers.
It's an amazing accomplishment. New coach, second year, blah, blah, blah. And I always felt they were going to win. I think they were a better team. And, and Dan Hurley talking about it, they didn't hit shots. I mean, it's kind of flushed out that neither team was really hitting shots. And if one team would have shot the ball average, maybe above average a little bit, they probably would have won. But it flushed out, and it was a wash. And so then Michigan had a little more, just a little bit more talent to be able to do what they did in that circumstance. Certainly if UConn had been average, or, I mean, obviously Mullins, a bunch of shots that were completely and totally makeable, they didn't go in. And that's when a one-game basis, shooting in basketball, it's why coaches are 50 years old and look like they're 75, because they worry about that, because it happens. And it happened for both teams, but, you know, your team thinking, and Hurley and these guys are going to be replaying it in their minds, but the shots that they made to beat Duke weren't falling here. So you go back and forth on that, and you never know on a one-game basis if teams are relatively even, which I thought they were.
North Carolina hired former Denver Nuggets coach Michael Malone. He won 510 games in 12 seasons in the NBA, won an NBA title, hasn't coached at the college level since 2001. We're seeing more and more of this. Well, as long as we're playing the players, it's a pro game. Let's go get a pro coach. See how it pays off for North Carolina, but that one came out of left field a little bit when you saw the names that were being mentioned, and then they pivot and go get Michael Malone. But the transfer portal's opening. They couldn't let this drag on, or could have wrecked the team. So I think the portal's open today. It's go time.
I think the portal has been open for a while in terms of players putting their names in there, and you can have some conversations. I mean, these rules that they have, and who pays attention to them, I'm not sure. But we'll see what he does, pro coach, and can they make the adjustment? I mean, there's no point thinking, well, there's been X amount of pro coaches who have gone and they've succeeded or they haven't succeeded, whatever, because everything is relatively brand new. It's only 2 or 3 years into it, so you can't really count on what's been going on for the last 40, 50 years.
Xavier Staten announced he's entering the NCAA transfer portal, so he is leaving BYU. Jordy Barnes, former Olympus High star, is leaving Utah State. He's entering the transfer portal, and we can keep going. The Utah guys going in the portal as well. It's that time of year.
Brown, their leading scorer, and then what's the kid, the big kid who for Utah State? He put his name in there and looked like he might be developing like in the next 2 or 3 years to be something special. We'll see what happens there. But a couple guys returned for Utah State.
Yes, Utah State's getting Falslove and Templin back. So
and they'll do well, and they'll maybe win the first round game and then go out in the second round.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz have 3 games left in the season, 1 game left in this road trip. They are in New Orleans tonight against the Pelicans. Tip-off at the Smoothie King Center, set for 6 o'clock. Pregame show at 5 here on The Zone. Just 3 more games, PK, and we can say goodbye to this era. Now, it's like you say, Utah Jazz 1.0, Utah Jazz 2.0. They always do this with teams. Like, they don't really number the downtimes, the rebuilds. The third rebuild, the fourth rebuild, comes to a close. But hopefully that's what we're about to see. Just 3 more of this. Get it over with already.
Well, it's 1 more week. I mean, I can wait.
Yep.
I'm not in a big hurry to have it happen. I don't want to wish away time. Yeah, this is. Then it is at 12:01. Like the transfer portal opened at 12:01 Sunday night. It's go time for the Jazz.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
In the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, rib contusion. He leaves the game. San Antonio beats Philadelphia 115-102. Told reporters after the game he's not concerned about being out long. Not that big a deal, which is good since, as you just pointed out, there's only a week left in the season. It's almost time for the playoffs, so be healthy.
Oh, good for them, but bad for others. And what are you, a San Antonio fan now?
Oh, humongous. Yeah, just ginormous. Detroit Pistons star Cade Cunningham nearing a return to action after suffering a collapsed lung last month. He's been out since March 19th. They are the top seed in the East. I think they got beat last night, but whatever, they're holding on to the top spot despite that 123-107 loss in Orlando. 57 wins for the Pistons this year. Big season. And Denver, in overtime, beat Portland. That is your dark horse in the West now. With the Lakers all banged up, they get a W as they make a push here to the finish line. The Bulls cleaning house, start over. 6 years with Arturas Karnisovas and general manager Mark Eversley. So they're out. The executive vice president of basketball operations, the GM, both gone. Only 1 playoff appearance in the last 6 years. The Bulls will start over again.
Well, bad for them, but at least I now know who they were, because up until yesterday, I had no idea who they were.
Yeah. DJ and PK.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Hashtag NFL.
Countdown's on to the draft later this month. Former Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza widely expected to be the number 1 pick going to the Raiders, making his formal pre-draft visit to Las Vegas. Find out where the locker rooms are. Get a tour of the stadium. Probably use that to get a little local media, try to sell some tickets.
I know where the stadium is. I've covered several games there.
Yeah, you've been there way more than Fernando Mendoza.
And I've been there once for a concert and probably 5 or 6 times for games.
Oh, really? That many? I thought, because you got Vegas Bowls plus conference title games. Yeah, plus that Notre Dame BYU game. Yeah, a ton of games there. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson reported for the team's first off-season workouts yesterday, showing he's ready to build with new head coach Jesse Mintner. There were rumors that he might not participate, but there he was in the flesh. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Dodgers get the good news and the bad news. The World Series rematch with Toronto. Good news is Dodgers win 14-2. The bad news for the Jays, not only they lose the game, Max Scherzer lifted after 2 innings due to forearm tendonitis. It's affecting how hard he could throw, so Max Scherzer out.
I lifted this morning a little bit too.
Guardians All-Star third baseman Jose Ramirez becomes the franchise's all-time leader in games played, 1,620 games. That's every day for 10 years. Of course, nobody plays every day for 10 years. He didn't do it in a row, but you get the idea. They lose the game, though, 4-2 to Kansas City. You see the pictures of Tropicana Field? Absolutely packed. The Rays beat the Cubs 6-4. It had been almost 2 years since they played there. Hurricane Milton ripping the roof off the stadium. Major repairs. But they're back, and it looks like it's much brighter, I guess, with the new roof. They're letting a little more of the light in. So, place is packed.
Yeah, they were discussing this morning on the baseball channel driving in if that can work, if that area will be able to support a team. And they were talking about, can they be like the San Diego Padres, who now pack the place every night? But there was a time when that wasn't the case, and they got the new ballpark that's beautiful and activities around there, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And so, I'm not familiar with the area, so I can't really speak to it. I mean, and I know that the Florida teams don't draw particularly well. So I don't know if they can. They don't have a lot of attendance in their games, so we'll see.
Took 10 games, but Cal Raleigh went deep. Rangers beat the Mariners 2-1. Raleigh set a MLB record for a catcher at 60 home runs last year. Now he's got 10 games into the season. And the Bees open a series in Reno tonight. Tony Park's on the call. First pitch at 7:05. The game will be on 102.7 HD2 or the KSL Sports app, because the Jazz and Mammoth will be on 97.5 and 1280 The Zone tonight. DJ and PK.
#golf.
Colin Morikawa will play through a back injury this week at the Masters. He's been dealing with it since the Players' Championship, forced him to withdraw from the Valero Texas Open. But that's the Valero Texas Open, PK. This is the Masters. You got to try to gut it out. Don't want to skip Augusta.
And they listened to, he did the interview yesterday, and I listened to it this morning. And, that's what he was talking about. It's not in great condition, but it's something that he's going to try to push through. He says you can't rush the human body. His spirit sounded okay, knowing that it's not ideal, but this is the Masters, and it comes around once a year, and you get only so many chances to play in your prime, and so here it is. We'll see what he can do.
And the leadership at Augusta National asking Jason Day to tame his clothing choices for this week's tournament. He was asked to do the same thing last year. He's got a deal with Malbon Golf. He wore a Birds of Georgia-themed outfit yesterday. He's expected to wear a Birdwatcher-themed vest in his practice rounds this week. Tone it down. Don't be too loud out there. This is Augusta.
Well, this is golf. They don't normally. Shirt's got to be tucked in. You got to wear. They haven't got on the new groovy trend in allowing shorts. Could you imagine if they allowed shorts? Oh my gosh.
The world would everything would stop. Race Creek would stop running. Not that it's running that fast.
How about Dawson's Creek? Is that still running?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Brian Taylor's at Augusta. Real Golf Radio will check in with us coming up at 8:30 this morning. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Utah Mammoth down to the last 6 games of the year. 5 of them at home, including tonight. The Edmonton Oilers come in. Puck drop set for 7:30. This one's on ESPN and 1280 The Zone. Mike Folta on the call. Mike is going to join us coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. The Mammoth haven't beaten the Oilers. Time to break through, especially since they might see each other for a first-round series here, depending on how things work out down the stretch. Edmonton's in a 3-way battle for the division title in the Pacific, and it looks like the Mammoth will probably play whoever finishes first in that division. And more late-season firings. Always fire somebody right before the playoffs. The Devils send general manager Tom Fitzgerald packing after 5+ seasons in charge. Led him to the playoffs twice, but he's out. What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, Mike coming up at 8 o'clock. Brian Taylor at 8:30. The question of the day is next. Stay with us.